Seun Kuti, welcome to the Rick Strom Show. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Ricky. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing okay. We were discussing a little bit about fascism and what is going on in the world. As an outsider of the United States, what are you seeing right now?
You know, I understand that the world's richest man is a fascist, and that's all that the world needs to see right now to understand that we as working people, I see these things from a strictly class perspective, even before I bring in the racial component as an African, that also affects me. I still see myself as because our forebearers, our fathers, our grandfathers, even our great grandfathers, you know, fought under the banner of class. We understood that we were not related by blood or by ethnicity or by, any of these things as men, that we were men of this world. And we understood that it was class that united man today. I see that the workers of the West, due to their privileges, want to abandon that family, you know, call us different names that the elites give us, immigrants, criminals, you know, and all illegal immigrants, whatever terrorists, whatever names whatever excuses that they use not to bond with their brothers all over the world and fight the real fight, which is our class fight, which is to raise class consciousness, which is to understand that we as people of this world demand that this earth is safe for us to live, that this earth is everybody's inheritance, that the earth provides for all of us to at least live dignified lives. And I feel like when I look at the West, I see like the Western workers think that the only ones that deserve that life. And when we demand that life, we're asking too much. And that is what has led us to where we are, where they cannot fully denounce a system that they see is eating up the rest of the world, including themselves. So for me, I see a lot of that is the battle. But the victory that I see, which people call hope, I don't do hope. I do victory. I do will. And the will is for us to be victorious. Is that allies are beginning to spring up like never before. This situation has cost many people, especially young people, who are seeing the hypocrisy of the system, are becoming disillusioned. They no longer believe. And people say young people are rude, they don't have respect, they're Gen Zs, no, Gen Z believes in nothing because we've given them nothing to really believe in. And many of them are beginning to find out the truth. I want to align with the truth. And what do the elites do? Try to confuse them, try to distract them. So this is what I see when I look at the West, this indecision, you know, whether they want to be a larger part of a larger human family, or they think that they are the only ones that are deserving of that title, you know. I don't know if it makes sense, but
No, no,
yeah.
no. It does make sense. It does make sense. I want to give you space and room to get your thoughts out because I agree with this completely. I think the biggest problem and hurdle that we have here in the West, and mainly in the work that I do, is raising class consciousness that falls, at least I feel like, on deaf ears because
Yeah,
it's so simple, at least from my perspective, studying this stuff. It feels so simple and easy because we've seen it time and time again with blaming Jewish people, blaming Mexican people, blaming black people, blaming Asian people. When
don't
the
forget the
capitalist,
homosexuals. Don't
yes,
forget the
yes,
homosexuals.
blaming the LGBTQ plus community. I mean, all Trump did was say that he wanted, and others at CPAC say they wanted to eradicate trans people. So, like, how do we become class conscious when so many fall into these traps?
Because they are not students of history, and those of us that have the means, that's why I say, like those of us that have the means, really, okay, historically, Hitler himself, how did he get the support of the rich Jews? Because people forget that a lot of rich Jews supported Hitler in the beginning of his rule over Germany, because he came out as the religious candidate who is going to stamp out all the abnormalities, all the abnormals of Germany. So he started with the homosexuals were his first target, and all the religious people were so happy. Oh yeah, didn't know that they were the final solution. Oh my God, histories can be funny sometimes. I'm sorry for laughing at something so terrible, but it's funny, sometimes when you look at it, like it's because it is happening again. I spoke to a journalist one time, who said something to me, and I realized immediately he said it. Another huge, narrative that the elites have spread to the working class people of the world. He said, your father said music is the weapon of the future. Do you think music can still save the world? And immediately I realized that after my dad had said this thing over 30 years ago, journalists repeat it, but they never really understood it, right? My father said music is the weapon, not the battle. So how can the weapon go and win the war? The battle is where the war is won. The weapon is not what is going to save the people. It is the battle that will save the people. So I said to him, I said, music, he said music is the weapon. And yes, it is, because it will inspire. But if the journalists are not interested in the truth, if the doctors are not interested in health, if the lawyers are not interested in justice, if the teachers and the lecturers and the professors are not interested in knowledge, music can do so little, art can do so little, because that is not the inspiration that they will seek from art. And that is why revolutionary music is not mainstream music today as it was in the 70s, the 60s, where if you were, as a musician, if you weren't speaking on something, nobody even wanted to pay you no mind. So we live in a world where the professionals of this world believe that their skills and their knowledge truly is for their own personal enrichment and comfort, forgetting that the ancestors have chosen you not to be among the 80% of humanity wallowing away. For a reason, this comfort and this free time we have is not for us to lord it over the poor like the elites do to us. It's for us to build bridges to them, to educate them, to spend our time weekly, this amount of time we spend entertaining. Why can't our freedom be entertaining to us? That is the job of, so this is where the elites show their power, by co-opting all the professionals to spin a narrative of this. I mean, we even believe that we want to go to Mars because some rich motherfucker said so. And this is the story that they've given us now, that it is mainstream scientific thought that this planet cannot sustain us. What kind of science is that? That is making us believe in some elitist narrative that we're all going to live in, that we're going to destroy this planet and move somewhere else. Are people mad? And people are going along, educated people are going along with this shit. Trying to be the first person to book some trip and take a seat. What is going on? That means they have resolved that they will continue in what they are doing. All this climate summit and whatever they say is bullshit. Because they continue to look to the stars for solutions that are here on earth. So unless we professionals, and I say these things, not because I'm afraid of the outcome, really. I'm down, for what comes next. Nature's revolution and the human revolution. But is it going to be anarchia, or is it going to be organized by the people to build a better world, to prevent nature's revolution? Because what we speak of now is existential. This is not I'm not talking about activism here of getting on a flotilla to go and break the blockade in Gaza when you don't have a gun. If that is not a publicity stunt, I don't know what else is with people's lives. and the world cheers that. We all know Israel is never going to let anything go into anywhere. Why are you crazy? This is, this is just futile because we refuse to organize and do the right things as we should, as the world's professionals, as the ones that truly run this world. So yeah. What do we want to do, really? I know many Europeans believe, and one of the things I do is I call everybody in the West Europeans. They don't like it. Australians are Europeans. Everybody in South America, except the indigenous and Africans, are all Europeans. The cartel is full of Europeans. They go different places and give themselves different names. Oh, we're Australians, we're Americans, we're Canadians, we're Europeans doing European shit that they've been doing for 600 years now, to other people and over thousands of years to themselves, So yeah, we want to continue that, or do we want to change the world? We want to see something new, this worldview. Are we willing to agree that it is not compatible with existence? Something that wants infinity in a finite space is impossible. These rich motherfuckers are speaking, they want infinite growth, fam. But our planet is finite. What's going on? Who is not speaking the truth? The scientists. I'm a musician, for Christ's sakes, man. And I know these things, and scientists are trying to tell me that they cannot raise a bigger objection in this world today to what is going on. I refuse to believe that, Professors, lawyers, doctors, But yeah, let's keep playing the game, man. Everybody thinks it's Africans that will pay the price and indigenous people. That's how they thought they were going to win the war in Afghanistan, in Iraq and Vietnam too, and South Korea. In Korea. Let's just see what happens when the time comes, Let's see what happens.